Hello? Sorry, I'm like a scooch late. I had technical difficulties, and even now I'm just making sure that my microphone is working. The microphone is working. We're good. We're here. Hello. Hello. Hi. Okay. While people are getting notified that this sucker is starting, I'm going to do an intro. Hi, my name is Melissa. Melly is what I'm known widely as in the wool world of Melly Knits. At Melly Knits, we take raw wool and we process it all the way through to bats for hand spinners. And then we put them out in a monthly shop update. Or we have subscription fiber clubs called Sommelier. And in the Sommelier fiber clubs, they're auto ship, they're bi-monthly, and they're mysterious. So people in those clubs just get shipped a bat. They don't know what they're going to get. And then after the fact, we come here to YouTube Live and we talk about what was sent out in the previous month. So today, it's April, at the end of April, we're going to be talking about what we sent out in the March Sommelier fiber clubs. There are 6 clubs in the March Sommelier, and we're going to go through one at a time, going into what we call the lore. So finding the fleece, processing the fleece, spinning the fleece, what does it look like, etc. That's what we're going to do. We're going to deep dive into the fleece. But first, I'm going to check to just make sure that we're here and that everything is on, because I was having like a scooch of a technical difficulty. So I'm just going to make sure that we are live in the right spot. Let's see, because sometimes we are not live in the right spot. So give me 1 second. Uh-oh. Hold on. This has been like my little season of, what is going on here? What is this junk? See, I'm having technical difficulties even on my phone. This has been my season of technical difficulty. We had a shop update on Sunday, and there was 3 bat types that were unsellable. I don't know why. I could not answer the question, but suddenly I started to get a whole bunch of, hold on, what's going on? Oh, here we are. We're here. We're live. Okay, I got it. Is the chat on? Is anybody here in the chat? Oh my gosh, my thumbnail at the current moment just looks like boobs. Holy moly, I didn't know this was a boob shirt. Okay, they're not going to show this one to the kids now. All right, we're going to talk about the Nude Club. Chat, are you here? See, what my technical difficulty is I can't see that anyone is here or that anybody is in this chat. It looks like there's nobody here. But if I go online, all right, we're going to talk about the Nude Club. Chat, are you here? I'm checking. Okay, what the heck? I can see you guys talking on here, but you're not showing up over here. What is going on? Public? This is why I'm sorry. I can see. Okay, maybe I just leave this open. You're here. Giselle's here. Dion's here. But you are also, we're here in the right spot. Hello from Seattle. Okay. All right. So we are having technical difficulties. I can see you all here. Here you are all talking to me, but you're not here on my screen. So that's stupid and unhelpful. What is going on? What is going on? I'm talking and pausing and checking to make sure this thing's working because there's a screen next to my head that should be showing me all of your conversation, and it's not. All right. Well, I guess I'm just going to see what you're saying on my phone. That's so stupid. Wow. At first I'm like, maybe this is the worst time of day to do this and nobody can come. And now you're all here. Everyone's talking, but not to me over here. What is going on? Hold on. Sorry. I'm trying to testing. Does that come up? Can you guys see that? I can see that I typed something. You know what? I'm going to leave it. You guys can see me. You guys can hear me. We're going to carry on. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, live chat. I'm going to open you up here. My goodness. My goodness. Where's my live chat? Here it is. I do not see that. It says host chat. Yeah, there's some disconnect. Chris is saying he doesn't see anything. There's a disconnect. There's some kind of disconnect. I don't want to restart the stream. We've already started. I'm here. As long as you guys can see me, you can hear me. And just as a test, just because, can you see this? Look at, I'm checking. Check my phone. I'll put my phone right here. That's what I'll do. You're here. I see you all. Oh, for goodness sakes. I'm cursed. There's a curse. There's a tech curse for me. I see you all. You're here. Hi. I don't want to be here by myself. Okay. So good. I can see you. All my friends are here. We can talk now. Hi. Welcome to Sommelier Live Lore for the month of April, talking about March. That's what we're talking about today. And last time we were here, I think I was talking about how I was intending to be back a lot sooner because I was gonna get these done a little bit sooner in the month because already I think everybody's already got April Sommelier. I've been getting some feedback on color love. I want everyone to know I can take no credit for what went out in Blossom this month. That was all cute little Emily. She was like, I'm going to make a bat. I'm saying it quietly just in case no one knows what I'm talking about. And so she made like the brightest, most chipper color. And I was like, okay, well, why not? Right? It's a mystery club. We got to access all the colors. Let's do it. And it was so fun because that's not necessarily like a me color. It was very much a cute little Emily color. She loves that color. So, all right, what's been happening? This month's clubs were actually a little hilarious because last month when I was here talking to you guys, we were post Fibers West and me teaching, I believe. End of March is when I came in here and talked to you guys. Post Fibers West, post me teaching. And I talked to you about how I had prepped this club in jet lag and prepped for Fibers West in jet lag. And so it was actually kind of funny looking back over what I made because I swear there are giant portions of my brain that are like just blocked it out. Blocked up. No, you can't come up here. Go away. Go away. It's Dutton. Dutton wants to come up here. It was funny because it all kind of blocked out of my brain. And so coming back and getting to actually spin these samples and revisit the yards was really good refresher for me because I swear, I did not bounce back from a 9-hour time difference. That took me a good amount of time. But anyway, okay, well, we got it done and we're here. And I've been all lovingly refreshed on this, and we're going to talk about it. Dion is asking, is it weird that she is not in one of my clubs, but she is here watching? Absolutely not. Let's state that 8 minutes in. I did get an intro done first things first. One day, maybe I will actually be like one of those YouTube people that like knows what you're supposed to. You know what I mean? Like, you know, those people who have like YouTube channels and they say the things and they have this really awesome way of like reminding you to subscribe. And like, I don't know. Maybe one day I'll be that person. I'll at least get out an intro. So if there should happen to be anybody who wanders across the video, they're not feeling like they're walking into the middle of a conversation. Maybe one day. For now, I'm still just trying to get photos of the things I make so I can show them to you guys. But Dion, no, be here, because we are talking, yes, we're talking about wool that specifically went out into sommelier. Sure, right? Clubs that like certain people got. But ultimately, we're talking about wool. We're talking about breeds and blends. We're talking about carding and scouring and percentage lost in the tub. And we're talking about all of those things. And that is pretty much universal to anybody who works with wool. So while the topics are generated based off of what I sent out in a sommelier club, we're talking about wool processing. So we're using sommelier as content. How about that? to talk about wool. So in the club, not in the club, you know what I'm saying? There it is. Okay. So please come in, please talk and enjoy and learn about the wool, ask questions. The chat is going and we're going to get started. Okay. Sommelier, quick refresher. We are on the month with 6 clubs. So this is the month with Firefly. That is the Any All Club. It matches its counterpart Origins, which happens on the other months. Firefly is the Any All Club. We've got Butthair, which was the very first fine wool club named on a dare here on YouTube, actually. That one is fine wools. Most of the time, they're going to be coated fine wools, a little bit more premium stuff. And then, I hate saying that though, because it sounds like the not coated awesome dirty ones are not premium, and sometimes those are like the best fleece you've ever used, but you know what I mean, right? Okay, and then we've got Moonrise, which is the pure club. That means nothing in it, no extras, just wool. Just either a single sheep or a sheep blend. We're looking at a blend this month of 2 sheep together. And then we've got our guts clubs. And so the first 3 I just talked about are bats ready to spin. And then these next ones are guts. So these are going to be fleece that you need to pick and card yourself, pick and blend yourself. So we've got guts 2, Any All, guts 4, fine wool guts, and the Nude Club, which just opened up this year, and that's raw wool. That's half a pound of raw wool. So that one, you're actually scouring yourself. So those are the 6 that we're going to talk about, and that's what we're doing today. Okay, so we're going to start with opening my live lore notes. Let's start with, let's see. I want to start with guts. Let's start with guts 2, okay? Let me grab this guts 2 club. Hold on. I just dropped something. Let me get all right. Guts 2 is coming up. Everyone's with me? We're all here. Dion, is it normal with my CVM to lose 40% after washing? Oh! Hold on. Never mind. I'm switching everything. We're going to do Nude first. Let's do it. Let's answer your question right now. Here's Nude. Okay. So Nude is the raw wool club. I just changing everything. Nude is because of Dion's question. See, Dion, you're not in the clubs. You're here. Look how you just contributed to this conversation. All right. This was what I sent out this month in Nude. This is washed. Okay. This lost 40% in the tubs. Let's talk about this little fleece. This is Roadster, the merino. And Roadster is fine. He's 18 microns. So a fine little ram, little weather. What's the note that I wrote to everybody? I said Roadster has a 3 to 3.5 inch staple length. That would be probably similar to most CVMs. Those don't get super long. This is the minimum staple length I enjoy processing. That's what I told the folks. Also, this is a ram. We do an extra scour as a rule for rams, as well as add some kettle water to the buckets to get it hotter than usual. Happy scouring. So that would be a very typical looking card. So here's the breed, the farm it came from, the sheep's name and everything. And then this is what I write to the people who are scouring. So sometimes, I haven't sent out a lot of these clubs, right? Because we just opened this one. I think this was our 2nd shipment, but like a little note if there's something to be told or known for scouring. So in the case of sending out a little merino ram, that's got a couple of tricks to it where it's going to lose. I am expecting it to lose a lot in the tub. This one lost even a little more than I expected. So I think the actual percentage mine lost was 36%. Because I start with, so it's half a pound, which should be 225 grams or something, but I'm sending out a little bit more. So when I'm weighing it out on my scale in the garage, instead of sending 0.5 of a pound, do you guys see that motorcycle? I can close this window. Hold on. Instead of sending out 0.5 of a pound, there we go. Silence. I'm sending out 0.54 or 0.56. There is a little bit extra going on, just a tiny bit, a handful, enough that if there was something that got into the bag that wasn't an ideal lock or something like that, you don't feel so bad trashing it. You got your half a pound. So when this guy washed, I did 4 scours. 4 scours. He came out really nice and clean. He is super soft and boinky. But ultimately we lost 36-ish%, 36 and change in the tub. While that is not unusual, so Dion, you're asking, is it normal to lose 40% after washing? Sure. Sure. That it is like, it's not like if that happens, it's like, whoa, that's like the weirdest CVM or the weirdest merinos we're talking about today that I've ever seen. I can't believe it lost that. I've had fleece that have lost more than that. I have had, they've all been merinos that have lost 55% in the buckets before and after. If anyone wants to know a trick for figuring out how much this lost, because I don't have math brain. It's just not a gift that I was given. There is there's an app called fitwatch.com, and it's meant to like track like weight loss, like how much percent did you lose of your body weight. I just pop in you can have metric or whatever, US measurements. I just pop in the starting grams of my fleece and the finished grams of my fleece, or kilograms or whatever, and it spits out a handy little percentage to me. That's what I use because I don't have math brain. I'm sure my friend Nelly, who has math brain, could figure that out all on her own with a calculator. Melly doesn't do that. Anyway, so I check a lot of my fleece to see different producers. I find like there's some producers I know are greasy. I don't know what it is. Pasture, genetics of their breed. It could be what they're eating, like if they're fed a certain kind of hay or whatnot. But I can actually mark I know which ones. So if I'm buying, X, Y, and Z from XYZ flock, I know that's a greasy flock and I'm going to lose a ton. So this merino lost 36% in the tubs. And we're going to talk about another merino. I'll do it right after this because why not? Let's go merino. That lost 22% in the tub. Bottom line wise, for me as a business, now this is not how most people are thinking, but let's say you're being economical about it. This fleece was less money than the one that lost 22%. But by the time they're both clean, I've paid about the same price per pound because I lost so much more volume and grease on this one. Does that make sense? So when I'm calculating my price per pound on the 22% loss in the tub or the 40% lost in the tub, suddenly the margins get a little bit closer, even though I paid, I would say, significantly less per pound for one than the other. So it's an interesting concept for me as a seller, because I am watching margins, right? Like Melly Knits is a business and Melly Knits needs to be profitable or it won't be a business anymore. And so I look at those kinds of things that you may not look at as a personal processor. You might just be like, you don't care, you got the fleece. But if you buy a 4-pound fleece and you lose 50% in the tubs, you now have bought a 2-pound fleece. Do you get what I'm saying? And so your price per pound just doubled. Like that's how that kind of works. So, okay, back to this, just going to see who's talking. I have a CVM RAM. I had to do 5 scours. Yep. Brought to 5 pounds. Now it's 2.5 pounds. There we go. There's a 50% rate there. 39. I love, look at this, Giselle, 39.18% and 35.6%. Love it. Okay. So these are numbers we see. We also see low ones. I think it's more rare to see them lower. I one time scoured a merino and it lost like 19%. And this was like a high-end coated. I was like, what was this magic? Are you kidding me right now? Because I kind of account around 30 on these fine wool fleeces. I'm going to think 30. Under 30, woo, I'm excited. Again, as a business standpoint. Above 30, it's not unusual. What are you going to do? They're greasy sheep. So Roadster was greasy. So let's talk about Roadster. I'm going to go find his little filey that I made. Okay, so Roadster is the Nude club. And Nude is raw wool, 1/2 pound. We stick it in a Ziploc. Although I'm not a real plastic fiend, this is the only way I'm ever going to ship raw wool. I store all the wool in this wool room is all in plastic. I don't mess around with pest risk. Plastic. If everyone wants to talk to me afterwards about storing wool, yes, it all goes in plastic. We reuse the bags, whatever. So this is what they go out in, these Ziplocs. And then we roll them up and we wrap them in the paper with the string and the little card. And it looks kind of like it's like the exact same size as a bat. Like when they ship in a bag, like they can sit next, they're just heavy. They're like a little brick, right? So this is the Nude Club, and this is what and the first month we sent out Headwaters. We talked about that a couple lives ago. And then, was the first month of January? No. Was it? Maybe? I don't know. No, I don't know. Whatever, doesn't matter for the purposes of this. And then this month we sent out Roadster, who is a tri-color. He's not a short stapled merino. He's not short stapled. When I say that I want to get a fleece that's minimum 3 inches, I say that not because a 2-inch fleece is bad or a 1.5-inch baby doll. I mean, come on, I can card a 1.5-inch baby doll. I'm a woolen spinner. I can spin that short. They're not bad. You'll see a lot of hand spinners looking for longer, not too long, because that can create its own issues in spinning. So some people don't want a 6-inch, an 8-inch, whatever lock, Wensleydale lock or something like that, screwing up their draft. I just prefer processing longer fleece. I find them to be easier to process. So picking open a 2-inch fleece I just find it harder and more annoying. And so that's why when I say 3 inches, that is not some gold standard for minimum length. You can work with shorter fleece than that, 100%, and spin them and make beautiful yarn. I just prefer to work with minimum 3 because anything under that gets on my nerves. So that's a preference thing. It's not anything under 3 inches is bad, because you'll see some really beautiful fine wools that are available out there, and the shepherd will tell you it's 2.5 to 3 inches. So don't be like, oh, Melly doesn't like under 3 inches is bad. It's not. It's just my preference when I'm working with a fleece. So, okay. So this little guy shrunk up in the tub as fine crimpy wools do. So see how he looks like this, all together, sort of chippy, looks a little bit, that's just how these fine wools go sometimes. So like here's a little clump, because I bucket wash, right? We're not fancy. We're not lock washing anything. And if I pull out one of these little nuggets, here he is, unstretched, and he stretches right out. This is a really, really beautiful, really boinky, soft little fleece. He is coated. Roadster's coated fleece. I find him to be quite clean. Also found he's got kind of like even when we wash it meticulously, we pick it meticulously, we card it, he just kind of came out sort of textured. Some fleece do that. That's just, there's nothing wrong. They're not broken, nothing. They just inherently kind of have a bit of like a homey, comfy, relaxed vibe to them. Whereas some of these fine wools you're processing, so CVMs, speaking to Dion, CVMs are almost always going to come out, almost always. I actually have never really seen like a super smooth CVM. Like they always kind of look lived in. Is that a good word that I'm allowed to use? Just as the breed goes, whereas merinos can kind of go either way. You get these really smooth ones. I've even seen merino with like a bit of a demi-luster. I would say this guy is like almost perfectly matte. There is like no luster to him. He's all fluff and he's all soft, extremely cloudy. Tricolor. So when we carded him up, bits of the white poked through. Here's one of his locks that's got the white and the brown working through it. I wouldn't call him organized. Look at his crimp. So sometimes we're going to see crimp on certain fine wool fleece and it's like mathematical. Absolutely. Like perfectly. You could get like this little tiny measurement and the space between the crimps is identical the whole way that it goes. That's what you see in some merino. And then you see some merinos here like Roadster. Roadster's a friendly little guy. Roadster's approachable. And he's just kind of like wing doing whatever, right? So here's what he looks like. And he's lovely. I love this fleece. Let's look at what he looked like carded up. So 4 scours, that was processing this guy. I did pull out kettle water with a note that I made for the clubs saying that I add kettle water to rams and anything from New Zealand. Is because there seems to be, I don't know what it is. Just going to say that out loud. Don't know what it is. There seems to be some kind of stubborn alt wax going on in rams. Just does. I don't seem to find it so much in wethers. Did I say this guy was a wether? I might have said that, but that's incorrect. This is a ram. He's there's some kind of alt thing going on that we find that when we're scouring rams, you think it's clean. The water's kind of showing me the signs and the symbols of a clean fleece, the things I'm looking for when I'm dumping buckets and squeezing bags. And then like it dries, and then 3 days later, I'm like, what the? There's like a waxiness to it, but it doesn't smell. So when I'm washing wool and it's drying, I go my face right in this and I huff that wool. You can smell lanolin. It has a distinct smell. This fleece is clean. It just smells like wool. Lanolin has a warm smell to it. Like, you know what lanolin, if you've washed a fleece, you know what lanolin smells like. I sniff the heck out of all my fleece. That's actually a really good way to tell if you've left trace amounts in. Just get your face right in there and sniff it. Just, check that whole sucker out. So there won't be lanolin. It's like something else, because I won't smell lanolin, but I feel something that's like resistant. Like there's not just like a free, because usually it's around this tip down here, that if I go like this and the fleece isn't totally clean or there's lanolin in it, like you feel like a tacky. Okay, this is totally clean, this guy, but like you can feel it in some fleece. You can smell it. If it's lanolin. In some rams, I find that in most rams, if not all rams, I find that no smell, but I feel something tacky. Anyway, we have subverted that by adding a kettle of boiling water to to just kind of bring up the temperature, our normal scouring temperature in the buckets when we're scouring rams, which is the note that I made for these guys who are going to wash this fleece this month. This should not be tricky. I was thinking about that when I was sending it out to the Raw Wool Club. They're going to see all kinds of things. They're going to wash long wools and fine wools and down wools and dirty wools and clean wools and all kinds of things, coated and uncoated and the rest of it. They're going to have a real scouring experience because they're going to get 6 bundles a year, right? Because they're every other month. A lot of people shy away from fine merino. 18 microns is fine. That's a fine merino. A lot of people shy away from that. They think that you're somehow going to hurt it. I wash these the exact way I wash anything. I handle them the same way that I would handle anything. Nothing extra special, nothing delicate, because if you're doing the same actions in your scour consistently, so like when I talk about, I set it to soak and I walk away. Don't muck with the fleece. Don't stir it. Don't bother it. Don't try and turn it around. Oh no, what if the soap didn't get to the inside? Like it got to the inside. If the whole thing is saturated with soapy water, it got there. Don't muck with it. Leave it alone. Then you can essentially wash a Dorset that doesn't really felt in the same way that you could wash a merino, a fine one that, you could overhandle and do some stuff to. I would say the only time I baby anything in the buckets is when I'm washing pure Icelandic. Because as I said, that stuff, you look at it the wrong way and it wants to felt. I just find that one's persnickety, and these I handle the same way that I handle anything else. So that's my merino talk. That's my merino talk for today. Okay, so that was scouring it. 4 kettle water boosted scours. It took the water just fine, 2 rinses, and my usual method of scouring. If you don't know what that is, I have a video on here you can watch. It's called, I don't know what it's called. I do have a video on here where I talk about scouring, exactly what I do. It's one of my wool room diaries. There's only 2, so you have a 50-50 shot of guessing the right one. Anyway, okay, picking this guy. So there were second cuts. There's one just there. You can see, boom, pretty evident, pretty easy to see. And for these, I like my little, especially if I know there's second cuts in here, I like my little diagonal pick. I don't just go like what I do with some fleece where I'm just all in the cloud like this with both hands going. This one, I like to do the little drag because then it makes sure that I can catch any second cuts possible till I get to my beautiful cloud friend. And that is what I would feed to my carter. Oh my gosh, Elizabeth says the video is called Scour. Hey guys, it's literally called Scour. Imagine that. The video on scouring, I called it Scour. Listen, okay? I made those videos not because I had designs on being a YouTuber, all right? Like, clearly we've established I don't like being alone in a room with a camera. The only way I can even do this is because you're all here, okay? Those were because the number one question I get in my Melly Knits DMs is how do I scour? And I made those wool room diaries to answer some of the major questions I get. One of the big questions I always got was, how did you get into this? You know, like, and so like I kind of answered those questions, and now we talk about all kinds of other things in my DMs all the time. But anyway, I can now point that as a reference for folks. There it is, picked. That is what I would slowly feed to the carder. 3 passes later, all this color, okay, mixed in, little bleached tips with the little whites and the little gray sections. As it is a tricolor fleece, your fleece may look different than my fleece. This was kind of like the turdish parts that I didn't want to give to the Nude club, right? Like if it was marginal and I was a little bit like, oh, is that a really good section? I kept it for me. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I love keeping my scraps and having them turn out. So here he is. Then we carded him up 3 passes. This sample went 3 passes through on one of the little homies, one of my super cards, and we got this. So see what I mean by kind of like a lived in? And obviously we're also going to be playing with that just in the color of it, the black and gray and the white and all coming together. It's going to look a little, I don't know, man, lived in just seems like my word. So the boink is there in the bat. Look at that. We love very fluffy, very, I don't know how to describe it, like homey and welcoming. And he's got a little chippiness to him here and there. He spun up for me really tweedy. I loved spinning this fleece, so you can see these moments here. These aren't neps because they're all soft. They're not like a hard little lump. So I just leave them in. Neps to me are hard lumps, like an actual problem, like an issue. You know, like this is like I'm spinning and this lump, hard little nugget is going by. When I x-ray this bat in the window, nothing hard, soft texture for sure, which you're going to see when I show you the skein. So this is how he carded up, and he drafts with a luscious grip for 18 micron merino. The draft was awesome. I could hear it. Oh yeah, baby. I wish you guys could. Shh, let's see. If that worked, I will be delighted. So he drafted audibly. I don't know. I always love that. He wasn't slippy at all. 8 twist though. 8 twist. I was like full bore pedaling. I could long draw across the room with him. Oh, that's all I have left of the whole fleece is just what I scoured for my own sample, my own half pound. So I was feeling a little covetous of this guy yesterday, looking back, like getting ready to do this and just looking back at the skein we got and the prep. This is a Melly merino, even though it's so fine, because normally I'm going to go in for like a stronger merino, like 23 microns. I think that's the perfect micron for merino personally. A 24, a 22, an 18, we can start to get a little testy, but this one is just delicious. Okay, let's look and see what his skein looked like. Wait for me, babes. Boom. That's how his skein came out. See what I mean by homey? Now, because I don't trust the quality of what a live stream is going to show you, and because I am trying to improve my YouTuber skills, that is what his skein looks like with my iPhone camera picture. Notice the definition. This is kind of fun to look at. He's sort of like, what do we talk about? I think Dion had a word for this last time we talked, because I don't want to say frizzy, because frizzy sounds like a bad thing, right? Like frizzy's like a problem to solve. But what if there's like a positive word for frizzy? Didn't we just have this discussion the last YouTube live? I think we did. Melly just says drafting ASMR. Could you guys actually hear that draft? Could you hear it? Could you hear the crinkle? You can hear that. That would be wild. Okay. Better word, positive frizzy, whatever that term is. I really do believe someone suggested the word. I think it was Dion last time we were all on here. And it was like, yes, that's the word, where it's not all fuzzy. Fuzzy's a nice word. fuzzy. Okay, so that's how he looks. Look at that definition. That's a 2-ply woolen spun. I long drawed that guy, but see how he's like, I would call this lived in. I would call this homey and lived in. Those are the words that I think when I look at this merino. And right after this, let's look at a different merino, okay? And like, again, we talk about merino. Some people talk about merino in the wool world like it's sort of like, oh, it's boring, or it's not all that interesting, or it's got like, I don't know, maybe because it's so commercially popular, but sometimes things are popular for a reason. Merino is super soft and a delight to spin and a joy, you know what, especially from a bat. I can suffer in a braid of merino, like comb top merino can make me suffer if it's super fine. All comb top makes me suffer, but like just personally, because I'm a long draw woolen spinner. I rely on that crinkle to really let her rip. Do you know what I'm saying? So what I love about the conversation around merino from a hand processing, bat making point of view is they are astoundingly different flock to flock and sheep to sheep. Okay, and why I say astoundingly, and that sounds crazy because like merino, we see it always presented to us so consistently. We see it, you know, like again, commercially prepared. It's the number one base you're going to find at a niche, at a knitting show, in a yarn shop, etc. But when you're working fleece to fleece to fleece, the character differences amongst these babes, and I'm not even just talking color, but that consistency, that feeling when you take your hand, and I do this with every single fleece, right? And you grab a lock and you run your finger down that lock, your thumb, from top to bottom firmly. And you feel, what do you feel under your thumb? Are you feeling nothing? Is it just smooth butter or silk? Are you feeling some kind of resistance? Are you feeling a grip? Are you feeling a scratch? Are you feeling a tooth? I do this a lot with fleece, like this. Oh, hold on. Let's put Roadster away for a sec. Like my close-up though, I did that for you guys, even turned it this way. Okay, like this kind of rub. You can really get a good sense of a fleece. There's so many ways to get a good sense of a fleece. We already talked about huffing the fleece, and now I'm talking about extreme petting of the fleece. But like, there's such a difference in even across in all breeds, but I think we look at merino less like it's got so much variety. Like it's a bit more, like maybe we expect it to be a bit more consistent or one noted, you know, like my best comparison is risotto. I always find risotto to be extremely one noted. Like it's a whole bowl of the same bite over and over again. It's not my thing. Like, so for here, like, I think there can be a conception that merino is that way, and it is absolutely not that way. There is so much life and variety amongst this breed, and it's absolutely fantastic. And Roadster is showing us that. And he's doing, as a fine coated merino, he's just doing something completely different than so many other merinos that I work with. And I love that for him, and I love that for us. And I love that for my Nude Club and this homey lived in merino skein that like presents, like if you're just looking at this and I didn't tell you it was merino, like he kind of looks like a hot mess. He's not, I swear. He's gonna, well, that's actually a piece of VM. He's gonna knit up so wondrously. And he's so soft, and the squish is real. Anyway, Imogen will not tolerate risotto slander. But it's how I feel. Okay. So there it is. There's the Nude Club, and what the Nude Club received in the month of March. Roadster, the merino from the Frivolous U. I did not source this fleece. I got this fleece. This was sourced by Wool Yoda, by Sherry at Conneagus Textiles. She loves merino so much. Her place is full of them. And I had actually never heard of this producer. And I had a really lovely time with this fleece. And I would say too, he was reasonably priced. So if you're looking for a good merino, and if the Frivolous U is still a thing, because, you know, I think so, like sometimes shepherds do and don't sell. Good one. All right. If you're looking for lived in, I mean, she might have other things in her flock that are different, but there's that. How do we feel? Did we thoroughly discuss the Nude Club. I believe we did. Okay, so now let's go into the next merino. See, I was going to start with the guts, but you know what? This just told its own story because someone in the live chat asked a question, which renews my love of having live chats and doing these lives at all. Okay, so next we're going to talk about butt hair. All right, let's talk about butt hair. I don't have a lock. I barely have a carded sample. I used like every inch of this, like every lock. I even think I kind of set aside like 30-gram spun samples for the Sommelier clubs that I keep. We have them all. I have like a whole giant bin. I did a picture once on my Instagram. Add another 15 skeins to that, okay? Of everything we've ever done in a Sommelier fiber club. It's wild. I don't know what, I don't have an intention beyond collecting these like stinking Pokemon. They're just all going to sit in there and I'm just going to keep them and know that I have them. But sometimes we use every bit of fleece possible and I just get like a little tiny sample. So for butt hair this month, I used, you're going to find out why, because we're going to talk about Firefly after this. We're on a journey and you're going to see how this all ties in. So let's look at it. This was what I sent out to butt hair this month. This is Honeycrisp. Ooh, she's got a story from Apple Creek Merinos. Oh, ooh, look at, you can see the crimp in the picture. Can you guys see that? I love when this happens. When you card it and then the bat does kind of like, I don't want to say relax, but it kind of does. And in some cases it reorganizes a little bit and you can actually see crimp in the bat. It's fantastic. Most I ever saw that was on a Rupert's merino. His crimp is next level. Holy smokes. I got 3 Ruperts on the way right now. They're in the mail and I'm so excited. Oh, that's a conversation we should have. How much fleece I've bought in the last 3 weeks. It's remarkable. Okay, so you can actually see the crimp in that. So Honeycrisp was a nice big girl, big, beautiful, luscious Apple Creek merino, and I had reserved her 2023 to get her in 2025. Is that what happened? I think so. I put her on reserve. I loved her color. And originally she had been slotted to go into Delightful last year. That was the original plan with Honeycrisp. Just based on a photograph, I wanted her in Delightful because of the color story that I was telling in Delightful last year, the forest floor. Ended up that I had an Apple Creek merino lamb named Irish. If anyone who got that advent is the one that actually went into Delightful this year, and Honeycrisp got shelved. She was stunning, but I had a lamb that was a bit more saturated in color and went with the story a little bit better from the same producer. So we saved Honeycrisp. But it was funny because she had literally been purchased and set aside for the express use in an advent. I'm just checking to see if, sorry, Laurel just got back to me. I asked her for Honeycrisp's micron count. She sent me the little graph. Do you guys, for anyone who was here during Advent Live, Laura, we looked at like the graphs that the shepherds get that show like comfort factor and the covalent, vision, all those things, all those science things I just said. Those ones are, she just sent me this. So Honeycrisp, 23.4 microns, 96.6% comfort factor. That's actually beautiful. And yep, there she is. So Laurel thinks it came out too high in the micron. Okay, yes, but also no. For anyone out here in butt hair who got to spin this fleece, this was an easier spin than our Roadster guy. This was grippy. So when I was picking this fleece, I was like, oh, this is a Melly. Because remember I said 23 micron merino's my jam. This was a Melly fleece. This was absolutely 100% a Melly merino in that it's just a bit stronger. It's got a bit more grip. I loved that Roadster showed up for me with the grip at 18 micron, which is kind of crazy. But this one had it. I speak to grip, like the sound I tried to show you guys over here. as a really good thing because I'm a woolen spinner. So, right, I'm relying on that tension. It's like my son was trying to fix something on my wheel last night. He also drives standard. I drive standard. Okay. And I'm telling him it's like that moment when you're going from stop into first gear and you got to play with that tension between your clutch and your gas, right? Too much of one or the other, you're stalling or you're revving your engine like crazy and you're popping off, you know? And so I'm kind of explaining it. He's trained to be a millwright. He restores old cars. This is language that he would understand and relate to. And I found that with Honeycrisp, she had that perfect balance where I could draft out in safety. Do you know what I'm saying? Like I could actually get quite quick with her. No risk of her slipping and falling off. She could take a bit more stretch from me, a bit more speed from me. And that's how I enjoy spinning. So again, when I come here talking to you guys about these things, I'm speaking like so out of preference, right? Like everything that I'm discussing is preference-based spinning. So when I say 23, that's why I like it. It's got that resistance and I enjoy that in a spin. I don't want to fight with my spin and have it resist to the point where like I'm cursing the thing at the end of the day. We're going to talk about one of those. but I love that bit of a grip and Honeycrisp definitely gave that to me. So here's there's my tiniest precious, the tiniest precious blob. This is how she looked carded up. She's just a wispy babe. Okay. She's like all kinds of cloud and beauty. She's gorgeous. The draft, even more grip. Yeah, even more grip than my boy back there. Such a good draft. Oh, that's so good. Okay, I love the way that she drafts out. And the color is really nice. This isn't a color I could wear because I'd look like I was naked as all else, but like it's what a beautiful, like I want to call it like an oatmeal. You know what I mean? Again, a part of the switch for me too was that she was just lighter than Irish that I ended up using in the Advent. And Irish was a lamb and she was a lot softer and it's delightful. And the delightful Advent is all about, you know, bougie and weird, right? Like that's that Advent's whole theme. We're fancy and we're super strange. So this one, look at the boink. Look at this. Isn't that great? Don't we love that? Ah, I love all manner of stretch and bounce in fleece and even fleece that don't stretch and bounce at all. But like, there's something fun about them when they absolutely bounce back. I think it just makes me think of comfort, right? Like these squishy plush things. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, she's so good. Okay, she's so good. And thanks to Laurel for getting me that Micron info because I accidentally threw away her card and I didn't remember what it was. All right, so here's what she looked like. We served her up pure for Butthair, by the way. No mix-in. So pure means just the fleece. Fiber only, no mix-ins. And for the sake of quality of what you guys can see on a live, here she is. Let's just put this away for a sec so you guys can see. That's the spin. Look at the definition there. All right. We were just talking about merino to merino definition. I still wouldn't even call this a high def merino. I wouldn't. And I have spun many of those where you can like, let's look at her side. Oh, hey, look what I can do. Hey. She fancy. How do I make these guys big though and me small? But then that made me go away altogether and it said to turn my microphone off. So let's not do that. Okay. That's side by side. Maybe you're not seeing like an unbelievable huge difference, but I do. I can actually see the plies better in this one. Things are looking, I mean, I'm spinning. Okay. I am not in any way, shape or form putting myself out there. Go back to that. Putting myself out there as somebody who's like, Little Miss Epic spinner. I can say that I've definitely spun like 1,000 different sheep because I sample everything that comes out of this wool room for the last however many years. Do you know what I'm saying? Even if it's 3 grams that I'm spinning on my little spindle that lives here somewhere. Currently I've got one from a maker in Quebec and it's just, I keep it tear a strip off, I try it out. I'm always checking the draft because the draft really matters to me. I get a ton of joy in the draft. For me, I'm a spinner because I love the act of spinning. I don't spin because I want finished yarn to knit with. And I think this is why you rarely see me knitting with my hands spun, because once the yarn's done, I'm like, well, now what do I do with it? You know what I'm saying? I love the spin. I love the draft. And so when I'm working on these fleece and working on the carders, I'm always checking the draft. So I have literally sampled probably over 1,000 fleece, easy. Breeds of all kinds, blends and mix-ins, and not even just that, but spinning even like all my own advents and like tons and tons of spinning where I've tried it all. I haven't tried it all, but you know what I mean? But I still would not consider myself to be in any way, shape, or form. Like, I think I'm a real adequate spinner. I'm a one-trick pony. I want a long draw. That's all. I can ply a variety of ways. I can knock it out of the park with singles. But like, I'm happy there, if that makes sense, of just doing one thing and having a default DK. I don't really have like goals in my spinning. I just like to spin, and I like to do it kind of just. I just kind of like to long draw. I have like one wheel, you know, and my spindles. That's just who I am. So please keep that in mind. This is a long way of saying when you're looking at my spins. I'm showing you guys this because I think it is information about the fleece, but please keep in mind that I am in no way, shape, or form tailoring my spinning to any of these fleece, except for one that we're going to talk about today. That was getting on my nerves, so I had to change it up. So this is, okay. So when I'm showing you, wow, that was a big one. That was a big rabbit trail. So when I'm showing you these side by side, this to me is information, because one of them is fuzzy, good frizzy. And the other one, while it has little moments of woolliness around the edges, not nearly as much, far more defined. And again, I'm sure someone with far more skill than me could have got that even smoother. I'm woolen, right? So my stuff is never going to be super, super defined. But you can see it in the differences. I love them both. I love both of these merino babes. But just thought that was kind of like an interesting little note. Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. This fleece was like really fun to work with. She was a big girl. That was a big fleece, which is going to lead us into our next one that we're talking about. Scouring Honeycrisp. I was nervous because she was expensive. So like, you know, I've washed a lot of bougie fleece in my day, but like, you never want to do, all of a sudden today's the day you do something stupid. Today's the day where you have like a tech error in your brain and your hands and you suddenly do something just really dumb. I don't think it's as easy as all that to hurt a fleece. I just think that, I don't know, like I'm a little bit more like, okay, we're scouring Honeycrisp. And she just scoured fine. I think she was like 3 scours and she lost 22% in the tub, which is crazy. That means all that big fleece was retained. We retained a lot of that big, beautiful girl, and she's so nice. And she was so big, in fact, carding her. Nothing. She's a 23 micron merino. She carded like nothing. She was thoughtless to card. Well picked open, thoughtless to card. And then we got her up and out. Butthair got a beautiful pure bat. Not a ton of notes unless anyone has specific questions. We have really spent a lot of time in merino and we're not done yet. So I say we keep, somehow this way is moving forward. It should be like this way. Okay, we're gonna keep moving. Let's talk about where else I used her. So big, fabulous fleece. Long, I waited for her to grow and to show. Honeycrisp went to like every single show that year and won. She came with so many ribbons. I mean, like there's, not to me, Laurel, the shepherd, has all these ribbons, but like Honeycrisp is decorated, okay? Her fleece was like the thing. And I loved that because you're kind of buying, knowing it could be a show fleece, then it is, and then it wins everything, and then you still get to have it. It's kind of fun. So she was super VIP, long wait, pricey, right? Like fair for the work and everything. I'm not saying pricey like it's a bad thing, but some fleece cost less. This one costs more. And I wanted to use absolutely all of her. So we also stuck her in Firefly. She made the rounds this month. So Butthair got her pure. Firefly got her. Really? That's the bat picture I don't have? Get the heck out of here. The dark one. That's how Firefly got her. Firefly, without meaning to, it's got to be some kind of a mental thing. And now it's going to become like, it's not going to become an actual thing. I think they got a normal bat last month or whatever. And Origin's got the weird one. But like, sometimes I'm like, oh, what would happen if like I put this one with this one with this one? I like it. So let's talk about the kind of choreography that I went after with Firefly this month and the thought that entered into my brain. All right. So I was working with, go away. I was working with, let's look. Is it any bigger if I'm here? Or is it the exact same size? It's the exact same size. Let's just leave me where I'm at. There's Honeycrisp on the left, my left, your left, all our left. There's Honeycrisp, the light one. In the center, we have Karina, who is a Gotland lamb. And then on the outside, that's Dawson. And that's an alpaca from All In Alpacas in Ontario. Karina is from L&R, which is my love for long wool. L&R's long wools are insane. They're so good. Where is this one? Here we go. So lots happening in this blend, okay? So we had Karina. L&R, because I would normally not find myself sort of like lusty for a Gotland, okay? Preference, risotto. So it would not be, that was for you, Imogen. I would not normally find myself chasing a Gotland. This one came up in a huge lot. Robin came to visit, I think last year, and she brought up like gobs of fleece, like 20 bags of fleece. And at first I had the intention to sort of like spread them out in the Canadian market. I kept them all, okay? I kept them all. They're gorgeous. This Gotland is so soft and so nice. I think actually Imogen picked this one, if Imogen's still on here. Hazel Witch Knits does a lot of picking for us. Totally on board with the Melly knitting. And just like stunning fleece. Look at that staple length. I'm going to show you here. Do I? No, I'm not. I'm not going to show you here because clearly, I bet you it's in the closet. I don't. Do I look? 2 seconds. I get 2 seconds to see if I've got it. I would like to show you the length. You're with me in my microphone. No, I bet we don't. That's Icelandic. Oh, we'll need it. Never mind. No Karina for any. I thought I kept a baggie. Shoot. So cool. It's cool. We have pictures and memories. All right. So Karina is this beautiful long stapled. When you stretch her out, imagine, here she is, guys, because I kept it because I'm professional, organized. Long, silky, soft Gotland. Like, she's wonderfully soft. Surprisingly soft, and I loved her. And then I had Dawson the alpaca. I get a lot of alpaca from All In Alpacas in Ontario because it's perfect. It's just that good. It's so good. And I love working with them. And I've worked now with like the majority of her flock because I've bought huge volumes from her, not huge volumes, but many alpaca blankets from her over the last 2 years. And they're great. And they're like so beautiful. We love Dawson. We love that color profile. Okay, so here's how Melly's brain goes. All right. Are you all still here? The chat has stopped. This is not that you have to constantly talk. Now I'm paranoid about technical stuff happening today. Okay, so here was my thinking, all right? I love a grip in my spin, right? We've discussed this thoroughly. And I like that bit of resistance, and but I also like the flow and the give. And I'm thinking about, okay, the super long Gotland lamb, so butter, soft, slippy, smooth, long wool, no real bounce other than what it just naturally has because it's curly. Do you know what I'm saying? It doesn't have the spring. Alpaca, which is, how do we call alpaca and how it behaves in blends? Sort of flaccid? Is that a good word I can use? Kind of like it just sort of, it's not, even when alpaca has crimp, I wouldn't say it's like utility crimp. It's kind of like cosmetic crimp. That makes sense. Alpaca, I love it for smoothing things out. So if you're someone who's ever processed long wool and you find that they can get a little tangly, like when you're spinning them, alpaca is a wonderful conditioner. It's a great thing to throw in to lighten things up. Think like folding egg white into like baked goods, levels it out a little bit, right? Doesn't make it a meringue. It just kind of takes some of the density out and creates a real smoothness. It can create a lot of smoothness in the draft. But then I don't want it slippy because I'm like, someone's asking limp equal drape. Yes, limp equal drape. And we've already got drape going on too because we've got this beautiful long Gotland lamb, right? Which is drape, which is going to be like this dangly, hangy, beautiful thing. And so I was thinking about that, and I'm thinking about drafting that. And I had just done like a hardcore long wool bat for, maybe it was Origins with an L&R too. It was just like all long wools all day long. And I love referencing the woolen spinning long wool revolution video. I don't know. It went out one time. She allowed me to put QR codes on the back of my label so people could go watch it directly. I do think it is behind her Patreon paywall, which is not a very expensive it's not a very big paywall. It's like, I don't know, $5 or $7 a month or something. Rachel has this video called Long Wool Revolution. She spun a skein of Romney for me one time that changed my opinion on Romney. I love having my mind changed, by the way. I don't ever have preconceived notions about things and get locked into channeled thinking. And so I love when someone hands me something and I'm like, what is it? And they're like, it's Romney. I'm like, no. What did you do? Because she is a master spinner. I don't think I don't think she has like the accolade, but like she spins, she teaches hand spinning, right? Oh my gosh. So I'm like, right away, I'm like, can you make a reference for this of what you did here? And I can send it out with a sommelier. And so people can like live their best life in long wool land. And she was like, yep, absolutely. The long wool revolution, woolen spinning. Maybe it's on YouTube. I don't know. If it is, I'll link it. But if it's behind a paywall, I won't link it because then that's like, theft. Okay. So I was thinking about adding something to make it more Melly friendly, as we have now very, very, very much in depth discussed my preferences for spinning and everything else. And wouldn't you know it, I had just a bunch of this Honeycrisp left over from putting it into Butthair. And what I don't want to not utilize that very special fleece. And so I wondered how she would do. This grippy merino, this silky lightening agent of an alpaca, and then this like really gorgeous, shiny Gotland lamb. So I end up doing 50% Gotland lamb, 25% Honeycrisp the merino, and 25% Dawson the alpaca. It's pretty heavy-handed for alpaca for me in a bat. Love it. Absolutely love it. I went higher than that, like in my shenanigans advent this year. We had some that were like half. We've done 50-50 alpaca grippy breeds before. I've never done that high with a slippy breed, which would be like a Gotland. Ooh! Now look at I want you guys to see the discrepancy in staple length, okay? Doesn't matter when I'm woolen spinning. And it doesn't matter on my big old Carters, right? If you're combing, it matters. If you're short forward, it probably matters. You know what I'm saying? Like for me as a woolen spinner, it makes no difference to me. If everything is totally different lengths, it doesn't matter. So here's what, oh, I wish you guys could touch it. It feels like nothing. I don't know how I love this experiment. I love this experiment. We made one basket and it comes off the carder after the second pass. And me and Emily are both like, oh, like we just wanted to touch. So this is how it looks. It's interesting because it doesn't wholly present long wool, even though it's 50% like long wool, like true long wool, not even like Romney gateway drug into long wool. This is like the true real deal. And yet it does, because like it's very limp. 25% alpaca, right? Like we're draping even as this roving, like it's got a weight to it that's different than the visual. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I like about long wool is you go to pick up a little blob of long wool and it's so much heavier than an equal sized blob of merino. You know what I mean? Like, so it's got this nice, like this nice weight to it that I really, really enjoy. And yet somehow it's also really light and like airy. Long wool, light and airy long wool. Get the heck what? Just like wispy long wool. Sure, I've seen wispy, airy long wool, but there's something, I don't know. It's doing all of the things. The blend is perfect. So like it is well blended. Like these, when I'm drafting, there is nothing in the draft that is showcasing. Okay, this is important to me because I have fought for my life sometimes drafting when the fiber is also fighting for its life. So suddenly the alpaca wants its turn and the Gotland wants its turn and the merino wants its turn. If that's what this was doing, I would have hated the draft. I would have quit. Experiment failed. Instead, what I'm getting here is this consistent, like when I'm drafting, it's all one draft. It's all doing one thing. Is it heathered due to the 3 different color things and fiber types happening? Absolutely. But it's drafting evenly, and that's very, very important to me. I fell totally in love with this thing. Totally in love. Holding on to the bat, having the best time. It's so good. Beautiful. Here's what we looked like going on to the Carter. This was, so you guys can see the discrepancy. So these are picked, okay? Well, actually, no, I think I was picking as I go on that alpaca because that does not look like picked alpaca. There's Honeycrisp picked, there's Karina picked, and there's Dawson the alpaca. And I just fed it layer by layer by layer. So I do micro layers. We're making croissants, all right? We're not making a cake layer, icing layer. We're starting and we're getting everything really, really teeny tiny, micro fine because I want this to blend right out. I don't want my aim is not an art bat. My aim is an infusion always. And so I don't even have equipment for art bats here, right? With the ones where you get those beautiful nuances of color and you spin them and you get these like tweedy, not tweedy, but like streaky. Oh gosh, love spinning an art bat. But that's not what my purposes and functions are here, right? So I'm going to grab, so these two are 25, 25, 50. So in ratio, I'm feeding Gotland, I'm feeding Honeycrisp, I'm feeding alpaca. I'm feeding Gotland, I'm feeding Honeycrisp, I'm feeding alpaca. I'm feeding Gotland from the first pass. Second pass, just like I always do, draft out my big thing. I was carding on YouTube, on Instagram Live the day. You guys could have seen this in action like this. And then I spread it to the width of the carder tray. Nice and thin, because we're trying to get this all to be one thing, right? And then I feed it back through my carder. And I do that the second time on the big homie, and then we take it over to the little homie where we get a little bit more nuance. If there's something I'm going to pick out of it, etc., that's what happens there. So that's how we blended this thing. And it blended, beautifully blended. The Gotland is at least twice as long as the other fibers. Like you can't tell so much in this photo, but when you pull and stretch it, which is what carding is essentially doing, it's twice as long. That thing stretches from the top to the bottom, like almost from the top to the bottom of the paper. It's a very long lock. Some of you may have gotten shorter little examples of it, but the majority of this fleece was a very long lock. Everything about this to the carded wrapped bat was just, I'm so smart. I am a genius blender. Look at that. We took all our ingredients and we made this, and I did it on a spindle. I tested my sample and whatever else. Then I actually sat down with like the big sample to spin it for this. And I had to change it up. I really did. Suddenly that long Gotland was affecting my draft, okay, on my wheel, because it was locking up. And so here I'm thinking, because it's presenting so light and fine and whatever else, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm just going to do my thing. I had to slow down when I was spinning this. Fast hands, slow feet. How you spin long wool. Even though half of the bat is merino alpaca. I definitely felt I had to curtail my spin to a long wool spin, as Rachel taught in the Long Wool Revolution. Fast hands, you're moving, but your feet are treadling slower. When I was trying to do the regular pace of, say, the Honeycrisp alone sample, couldn't. I would have locked my draft right up, it took me like a kind of like record scratch in my brain moment to figure out, like, oh yeah, that of course there is a massively long Gotland lamb in here, and even though blended, it's what's dictating how I'm spinning this, not the merino and the alpaca. They're playing their side dishes, although the draft is consistent. It is long wool, and I needed to be treated like long wool. So that was the one little moment that I had. I think I had like deceived myself just from looking, touching, spending time with the bat. When it actually came down to adding twist, it was different than just draft. And because draft, we're just doing this, right? One long length. I can sit here all day long and I can just grab this little sucker. And I'm doing that a lot when I'm carding. I'm drafting constantly when I'm carding too, right? So oh yeah, look, see, we're fine. It's drafting like anything else would draft. But the second I added twist to my draft, I needed a lot bigger area between my hands because those Gotland lambs are taking up so much real estate lengthwise in my draft. It was a really fun spin, and I love the resulting yarn. Let's put all of our little friends away. Looks like this. It's inky, definitely plump, which was really interesting. Let's look at the better picture. You see that it's here. Plump. This was a plump spin. Oh, this one goes big. Okay. That's not it. That's the merino. Hold on. Where are you? Here she is. There's Karina. Okay. Plump, which is unexpected. I thought like it was very full and round. See how, like, look at the top, kind of even those top plies of mine, they're chubby. It was like, and that's where I'm seeing Honeycrisp come through. She's bulking it up a little bit. But the lightness is that 25% alpaca coming in. I feel like Honeycrisp acted a little bit like glue, if I want to use it that way. I love a long wool alpaca combo. Just those two alone is something I do often. I really like it. 20% alpaca into any long wool, what a spin. Something about adding 25% of like a cream base. Why do I keep going back to food? You know what it was? It's because I was a food blogger once upon a time. So I think everything in my head still goes back to food. So, okay. So here's where all my relations come to, and probably why I have a Sommelier fiber club. Okay, so that's how she ended up looking. Plump and round. She's still draping like you would see long wools do, but not as dramatically as some we've talked about on here before, where they're like extra whippy dippy. She's got something more to her that immediately gives. So I find that most of the time, if you take a long wool and you squish, it's not necessarily coming back at you. It doesn't have the bouncy resistance. That's where we're seeing Honeycrisp come into this blend. I love this blend. I'm grateful that, unbeknownst to all of them and me at the time, Firefly has received some bats that end up coming in my shop again and again, right? Like there's been some, and Origins too. I do play around, in those clubs a bit. Like I think Origins might have been the one that had the first one with the Himalayan nettle. Maybe. Actually, I can tell you right now. I have which can never be shown, my plotting and my planning for the Sommelier Fiber Clubs is actually like, open. Are you guys all still here? Did I just go away? Did you just go away? Who got the nettle? Yeah, it was Origins. No, it wasn't. Not like this is important, but like I feel like I need to know now. Someone got the nettle silk in a Romney. I know I did that to somebody. It was Firefly. Okay, hold on. It was Firefly. Firefly did get the nettle silk, which we just had in our shop update. And it like flew off because Romney nettle silk. Oh, hand-dyed bombyx, Himalayan stinging nettle, and a Romney. Get out of here. First time we did that was me also thinking, like, oh, I wonder what this would be like together. And now this is something I would love to do, would be to take my long wool alpaca love, add a little bit of something bulky to it. I would be very interested in seeing what it would do with other kind of fine wool, but bulkier fine wool breeds. Anyway, whippy dippy. That's what we created for Firefly this month. And that is the journey. That's the end of Honeycrisp's journey. So from 2023 to 2 clubs last month, that's where Honeycrisp, from being in Delightful, and then she's not going to be in Delightful. And then I don't want to save her for this year's Delightful because she doesn't go with this year's color story. And so I'm just like, what am I doing with this like big, beautiful, important fleece? And she ended up getting served up 2 ways, which is really exciting. And she got to be experienced by 2 different groups in the Sommelier Fiber Club, which I absolutely love. Yeah, happy. 10 out of 10 would blend her the same way again. And that's it for merino talk. We had Roadster, our 18 micron friend, Honeycrisp, our 22 and a bit micron friend, and then we got to see her in a blend and see what long wool does. I really like it. For anyone who didn't get to touch this or be in this club, and you're an experimenter and you're a little bit of a Carter explorer, I say explore your options. The proportions on this was 50 long wool and then 25 of the other 2. And it's just, I love it. I can't wait to see what other kinds of combos I can do, as, you know, the fleece are sort of infinite. And I'd like to do this again and see what the result is like with a Wensleydale, or even just a Romney, or even, like I say Romney, like it's such a basic, or a lovely Romney, or I don't know. What would a BFL be like? Ooh. BFL, merino alpaca? Or a BFL with that super bulky Manitoba Rambouillet that we had out last month. Okay, I'm gonna keep trying with, I just like this a lot. I liked it a lot. So that was that. Let's move along. Let's see what else we've got going. All right. What are we all saying? Jess the Knitter, loved this Firefly. Hey, thanks, Jess. Having so much fun, I didn't want it to end. What did you think of the long wool in the draft? Did you find it took over? Robin. Hey, Robin's LNR. That's our shepherd. Robin's okay. It's recorded. You can go back. We talked about Karina a lot. She's gorgeous. Titanium black. Yep. Karina was the boss of that spin. Main character energy. Wait, a food blogger. We're getting Melly. Yes, that was. I was a pastry chef for 8 years and specialized in wedding cakes. Really, really big ones, sugar art. And then when that got exhausting, because it's exhausting, it was exhausting. Holy moly. And the pressure was insane. I moved into content creation and food blogging. And I wrote approachable, I made candy thermometers. My goal was to make candy thermometers approachable, to make anybody feel like they could put on a batch of caramels or make a whatever it might be, right? And explaining it in like this language. Food techniques, we had all kinds of series. The caramel series was amazing. And I sold to like big companies and did their content creation and all that kind of stuff, photos and whatever else. I didn't do the photos. I sucked at that even then. I had a photographer friend who did all the food photos. And then I didn't want to do that anymore. And I took a 4-year, I volunteered a lot. I did a lot of other things. And then one day I walked, my cousin got a flock and asked me if I could figure out wool. And now here we are. And so I think I still come back a lot to sort of like food isms, because it's at the end of the day, to me, this is ingredients. Those were ingredients. And when you put ingredients together in certain ways, sometimes really wonderful things happen. And so I think in ingredients. Anyway, it was called Buttercream Couture. That was the name of the thing. Big, beautiful cakes. I look back at them now. I'm like, how did I do that? Holy. Lots of late nights. Okay. Someone's asking, have you ever blended Angora with long wool? No. Angora is fussy to me. And I mean, I could try. I've always just kind of thought that wouldn't work. I don't think I've ever done it. Angora with a long wool. I always kind of use Angora into fleeces that I know cotton would go into. Same kind of vibe. Because Angora and cotton are the two biggest mess makers in the wool room. And or like possum and wallaby, like any fleece that I know would hold on to those fibers well, I would put Angora in that category, and I wouldn't put any of those fibers into a long wool. I feel like they'd be doing different things. Like they'd be next to each other, but they wouldn't be one, if that makes sense. I could try it though. I could try it. Maybe I'm totally wrong. We can sample that. How often in your clubs do you come close to not enough wool for the club members? We always try to choose big fleece for the clubs. So like I need at least a 7 to 8 pounder if I want to just use one fleece. Karina was a big girl. That was like a 10 pound, that was like a big fleece or something like that. So there's some fleece out there that are really large. We always make it. We've never ever been short, but I would say, I don't know, like between 5 clubs 1 month and 6 clubs the next month, between all those clubs, we usually end up with maybe an extra bag or 3 of guts, and then maybe like one club put out a 50 gram bat or 100 gram and a 50 grammer. We never get a lot left over. We get like a bat maybe out of a blossom, and then maybe we get like 1.5 bats out of like a big Butthair or something like that. But it's never a huge surplus. I find we're really maxing out when we're working with even a 7 pound fleece. A lot of it is used, right? Like after washing and picking and losses through both of those moves. Then there's carder tacks. And like, and so Karina would have had a huge carder tacks because she's a long wool, and these big boys spit out. I put 200 grams on here of Karina. I'm coming off with 170. You know what I'm saying? Like we're losing on every pass. So that all eats up in our 100 gram bat. So we've got like, I would say we've never been too short. We're right on most of the time if we don't get maybe 150 grams extra. But everything gets weighed, like we're never guessing. These baskets, you can't, those baskets those baskets, we pre-weigh those, and we weigh out 9 baskets to build out a sommelier, 10 if it's a long wool sommelier. And so generally we're not really surprised, and we always end up right in our range using all of the fleece. Sometimes we have extras from that fleece, like we washed a Cormo merino recently for a sommelier, and we had 2 of them from the same producer. So we had tons, we had 12 pounds of this stuff. Then it'll show up in a shop update because we've already got it washed and whatever else. Conversely, do you usually have 2 to 3 extra bats? Sounds like this merino was cutting it close, but covered 2 clubs. Yes. So yeah, that I answered that. Sorry, I didn't read the rest of the question first, but I think I answered that. So we've never had 3 extra bats from a club ever. Rarely have we had 2. 1 we've had. So in this case, had we not put her, the merino, into Firefly as well. Let's think about this real quick. Hold on. 25% out of 100 gram bat is 25 grams, right? And it's 15 bats. So yeah, we only had about a pound extra of her at the end of using that entire fleece. And the fact that we served her up pure for Butthair and didn't because if we're adding 20% to something, it's 20% less of the fleece we're using. So sometimes you can stretch a fleece that way. We didn't need to because she was so big and she lost such a small amount in the tub that we had such a good yield from this great big girl. She was at least an 8 pounder, 9 pounds. I want to say she was a big fleece, lost very little in the tub, really no carder tacks. She came off totally clean. So, and there wasn't anything lost in hand picking, because a fleece like this is like skirted within an inch of its life. A show fleece, there's not one lock on there that can't be used. Not one. There's no waste off a fleece like this. So yeah, she really went the distance. We had about a pound left over, and that went into Firefly. Okay. And we've never actually had a fleece cover 2 clubs before. That was the first time that we've ever done that. Build up your hand muscles for wool work. Yeah, there you go. All right. Okay. Okay, where are we at? Let's keep talking about wool. We were just talking about wool. Sorry, I feel like I didn't dip. Man, I was going to start in guts. We're going to end in guts. Let's do Moonrise next. Let's look at Moonrise. How's everyone doing? 1 hour 25. We're Zooming. This is quick for me. I was talking to somebody today about a teaching that I'm doing in the fall. And there's a couple of options, and it could be a multi-day thing. And there's like all this kind of like talk. And it was so funny because as we're discussing options, I just made it a note as a part of my new teaching resume that I have been given the gift of being able to speak forever. So about a topic, I have no shortage of words ever. And so these lives coming in at like even 2 hours, and I'm like, oh, okay, we were really moving. You know what we were going quick because there's so much to say and to talk about. Like, no loss for words. So whatever kind of classes you need or want to figure out in the end, believe me. Oh, we want to do a 3-hour one, 2 3-hour ones with an hour off in the middle. You want to do something like whatever, bring it on. Just don't give me like a 2-hour one because that is not enough time for anything. Clearly. Moonrise. Keep on track. Moonrise is our pure club. This club was brought around by popular demand. I was asked for this club. Can you have one that's just pure all the time? Never a blend, never anything else in it. And I had enough people who were interested in that we built a club out of it. And we have to date not had anyone leave this club. So if you're on a wait list for Moonrise, I had to shut the wait list down. I shut the Sommelier wait list down because it should have been shut down 100 people sooner. Because while we do have turnover in some clubs, like I find that there's turnover in, like, say, Guts 3, the Chaos Club, just distinctly. And some people do need to leave, and some people have a big stash and they need to catch up. There's lots of reasons why people would go. No one has left Moonrise. We're going to hit Moonrise's 1-year anniversary, and everybody original will still be in there if no one leaves between now and then, which is like, I think 2 more rotations away or something. So that's pretty spectacular. And that gives me good data, right? To be like, oh, okay, so, because I don't oftentimes, people love blends and they love like the soft stuff being brought into their wool. And so even in the club, in the shop updates, I usually have 1 to 2 kind of pure offerings. But what this club shows me is that there's a real desire out there for just like a pure breed, we're not doing anything else with it. Just the straight goods, just the straight wool goods. So love that. Nude, I would say, would be another club that we got a lot of messages for. Can you do raw wool? Can you do raw wool? No one's left that either, but that one's much newer. Okay, who is this? Who the heck are we looking at? Oh, right. This is Chai and Ghana. Ghana. I won't say Ghana. Chai and Ghana. So we've got a BFL North Country Cheviot, which is a cool mixture. BFL North Country Cheviot. Meat sheet pillow stuffing meets springy angel dust. Okay. And then Clun Forest Dorset. So I would say Clun Forest is maybe looser overall. It doesn't have the same like kind of interlocking twait crimp that you'll see in a Dorset. We put those 2 together from the same flock, from Loch Lomond Livestock in Saskatchewan. I love Loch Lomond Livestock. I love them. I love their fleece. They actually just started running Corriedale. Oh my gosh, I haven't even opened the box yet. I've got in my intake pile, which is monstrous. I've got at least 50 fleece in my intake. I haven't even opened the boxes yet because that's a whole day. And I need to wait till I have a friend over, and it's a whole process because everything needs to get rebagged and priced and all these. I look through my phone and finding receipts, and it's a whole thing. Intake is a whole thing. And there's still so much more coming in. There's at least 30 more fleece on the way. I told you at the beginning we could talk about all the purchasing. And I'm going to a local farm to go pick up wool this week too. Oh my gosh, there's so much wool coming in. I love it. I love spring shearing. Okay, Anyway, I love Loch Lomond, and they just started running pure Corriedale, which I'm really excited to see what their Corriedale is like, but I haven't opened it yet. Maybe we'll talk about that because I'll put it in the club. But for now, we're talking about chai and Ghana. BFL North Country Cheviot. I would say these fleece were pretty similar, except for chai was softer and had a bit of a demi-luster to her, but I felt together in a bat, they'd go really, really well together. So that's what we did. We put them together in a bat. Washing a Loch Lomond, this is not a greasy flock, ever. This flock is like 2 scours tops, and everything is super clean. Price is really good on Brooke's stuff. I love her stuff. She takes these big pictures, and like once a year when they shear, or whatever it is, twice a year when they shear, she just got like a picture. Here's a lock. I think she gives a pretty good description. You're going to find a lot of like micro VM, not as much like giant Mondo sticks as you're going to find like when I'm picking a Loch Lomond, my lap gets really covered in like kind of chippy little straw tinies, you know, that kind of thing. So fun to work with, and I've worked with tons from this flock. I almost always have Loch Lomond in the shop. I use it in lots of my clubs. I really, really enjoy their fleece. There was even a year where Loch Lomond got hit with drought and they had to bring in feed and all their sheep got dandruff. And you know what? It still processed really great and all that dandruff flung out. So there you have it. Okay. Dion, are you going to the auction this weekend? What auction? Like Maryland sheep and wool? That's not an auction. That's the only thing I think of that's happening this coming weekend. No, I'm not. Our local auction isn't until June. Okay, let's talk about this fleece. So scouring is a non-issue, unless that question was for somebody else in the chat. No. Scouring was a non-issue. Easy peasy, straightforward. You gotta love yourself some downy Canadian wool. Carding, same. Picking, be a little bit more specific, for sure. You'll have a bit of a waste pile, but nothing that hurts your feelings. And carding was awesome. Always effortless. You can't hurt these things. So this is what it looked like carded up. My friend Jess at JSF Knits, this is her bait. Maybe a little lighter than she goes for, but this is definitely her bait. So we're definitely down woolish. There's definitely a down wool vibe going on here. No, ask Rachel about the auction this weekend. An auction? Huh. Okay, haven't heard. A wool auction? Our big one's not till June. Maybe there's a guild thing happening. I'm not in any guilds. So if there's guild talk or guild events, I never know because I'm not in a guild of any kind. Okay, here we go. This is what it looked like carded up. It's just exactly what you want this to be. It is soft. I would wear this next to skin. And I don't mean to say that like, I would wear it next to skin. So obviously, you're sensitive. Like this isn't like when I say I'd wear Icelandic next to skin. Like this is next to skin down wool. It's really, really lovely. And it's really, really lovely. It's got a lovely loft to it. Squishy. Bounce? Oh, I mean, yeah. You'd think there'd be a bit more. Not as bouncy as those merinos were kind of appearing to be. Gorgeous. And what a color. And I liked putting these two flock mates together because neither fleece was a real big fleece. And as we've discussed, you have to have some bigger fleece in order to pull off a whole club. So putting two from the same flock together allowed us to give Moonrise something kind of interesting because I'm not adding anything to this, right? So it's not like I can bulk up the fleece any other way. Chris, I'll be walking fast to the fleece barn at Maryland. Yeah, I have a proxy shopper who's looking for some very specific fleece for me at Maryland. Ooh, because I clearly, with what I just described, my intake pile and what's on the way, I need more wool. Let's make sure Melly gets more wool in the garage. Okay, so this is what she is. Absolutely love these two fleece together. Such a good spin. This was the spin. Brainless, chonky, floofy. Let's look at the photo. I think the photo is a better... Where is the photo? There it is. I think that's just a better reference point. Do you see how you can see some luster in that? Right? There would not be there would not be a what's it called? A lustrous element to these breeds if it wasn't for the BFL. That's the BFL influence. In that one of the fleece was half BFL because the other breeds aren't lustrous breeds. Dorsets, North Country Cheviots, Clun Forests, these are not known for their luster. These are kind of meat sheep. So all that you're seeing in there is coming from the BFL. Do we not love the heathering in that? I would knit a whole sweater out of this. Just pure. Just these two together pure. To me, this is a cardigan. A cabled cardigan at that. Like, this is what I would just throw on and wear. I absolutely love this with my whole entire heart. And I thought the spin was quite remarkable for taking what would otherwise be kind of like serviceable sheep. Do you know what I'm saying? Like sheep that this is not a fiber flock, but the fiber from this flock is always awesome. If you're into this kind of wool, which I am, and if you're good to sort of have to sit there and maybe give it a tiny bit more attention when you're picking, which I am. They're not difficult to pick. They're just, sometimes you just got to pay attention and get some stuff out. I've had dirtier fleece, you know, with much higher price tags, if that makes sense. So that was my spin. Nothing to it. I don't have a lot of notes. This is like breath. This is like the ease of working with these kinds of breeds is like, it cannot be rivaled. If you're ever considering a first fleece, if you're here in this deep dive and you're not currently processing wool because it freaks you out, this is a good one to start with. Get something at a bit more of an approachable price point and let her rip. You can't really hurt it in the tub. They're down wools primarily, right? They do, I will say, Loch Lomond also runs Pure Romney, and now they've got Corriedale. So I've worked with their Pure Romney very recently. Guys have one in the shop? Just? Or am I giving a spoiler for a Sommelier thing? I don't know. I just worked with one of their Pure Romneys. Worked with a lot of their Pure Romneys, and I've had some of the most well-known bats we've made have been from their Pure Romneys. And then can't wait to explore their Corriedale. Really excited about that. So anyway, that was Moonrise, which is funny because I just scoured this month's Moonrise because it's May. So we're shipping May in another, I don't know, whatever, 2 weeks. I just scoured Moonrise for May yesterday. And Emily was scouring it too. Okay, what's everyone saying? What are you guys saying? Earth Hand Gleaners are having an auction East Van this weekend. Oh, yes. Yes, I know about that. Actually, what they will be auctioning is fiber that I'm going to the farm to get this week. So there's same flock that the Earth Hand Gleaners is going to be auctioning this weekend is coming up actually in Guts. We're going to talk about that flock. And then I'm actually going out to visit the flock and the shepherd, and she's got some fleece set aside for me to look at. So I'm going to go to a wool. I'm going to go buy some wool from this lady because it's really, really beautiful. And you'll know it when we start talking about it. Nope. Yes. Okay. Let's put this away. Okay, so Dion, I do know about Earth Hand Gleaners. I do. But no, I will not be going because I'm just going to go get the fleece from the shepherd tomorrow. When am I going? All right, let's talk about this. Here we go. Sommelier Guts 2. And the farm in question is the Barnston flock. So you may have, she came with a ribbon from the Western Canadian Future Shepherds show. She's got some nice little judging notes. She's a good little fleece. This is Cream Puff. So Cream Puff comes from the Barnston flock. I have these guys. This is what I'm going to go visit. And they're the ones who their fleece are being auctioned off by the Gleaners this weekend, according to what's happening in this chat. Anyone who's not from around here, you don't know what that means, that's fine. It's totally fine. Barnston flock is lovely. Lots of crossbreeds, like so many crossbreeds. And really beautiful. Barnston Island itself is really unique. So we live in the Fraser Valley. I'm on the coast, they call us here where we are in British Columbia. I'm in this little pocket of Canada that is like cherry blossoms and tulips and sunshine. Well, rain. And then this season of like cherry blossoms and sunshine and tulips, while the rest of Canada is still getting spring snow. You know what I mean? Like right where we are in our little corner of British Columbia. So I'm just outside of Vancouver, British Columbia. It's coastal. I can't see the ocean, but it's like there, you know what I mean, from where I am. But that's how the rest of BC would refer to us. So like my friend Kelsey is driving down here in a week or two, and she's coming to the coast. That's how she says it. We don't necessarily refer to ourselves as that in this area, whatever. So where I am, there's oceans and there's rivers and mountains, all these kinds of things. And there's this big river that runs right through the Fraser Valley out to the ocean. It's called the Fraser River. And in that river are these little tiny islands, like little islands. They're not that big. You can drive your car around the whole thing in 10 minutes or something like that. Barnston is one of those islands. What's unique about Barnston is that people live on it, but there's no like road to it. There's this hilarious little like water taxi. It's like a platform that can hold maybe 3 cars max with a tugboat attached to one side. I could throw a rock if I threw far, okay? And I just stood on one shore and chucked a rock. I could probably get close to hitting the other side. Like I feel like I could reasonably swim across, like out of shape as I am or whatever. But you can't get there any other way. And there's this whole war of like people who don't want the bridge, and then people who like, it would be like nothing. It would be like a nothing little like, so there's this whole rigmarole with this like little platformy tugboat that goes over and it comes back and it goes over and it comes back. And so you drive your car onto this platform and you just kind of sit there for like a whole 2.5 minutes as this tugboat just moves you to the other side of the river. You drive your car off. It is so funny. So I like going over there because it's just, I'm in the middle of this really urban area. It's like 10 minutes from my house, but I feel like I've really journeyed somewhere because I got to get on this little tugboat. And if there's 12 cars waiting, you're 4 tugboats away, or what, you know what I mean, from your turn to get on that thing. And then once you go over there, there's this gorgeous, gorgeous flock called the Barnston flock, and that's where they are. So geographically, extremely close to me. Barnston Island is like not far, but it sounds far. If I tell people Barnston Island and they don't know, they'll think I'm talking about, because we're so surrounded in islands here. We've got the Sunshine Coast, which you can also only get to by ferry. We've got the Salt Spring Islands, very famous. We've got like, there's all these islands in this area of where we are in the world. And Barnston is just this little nugget, right? And like, but it's, anyway, so that's the Barnston flock. I actually was trying to upload a video of the little boat because I took one last time I went of us driving onto this tiny little platform and over. And I had videos of the flock. I didn't take any photos, which was stupid the day that I went. I'll get some this time because I wanted to show you guys Barnston. But Susan is lovely. I love Susan. She's the shepherd, her and her hubby, and she loves her sheep. It's a beautiful space. It's like the happiest, that's where you want to see sheep living. Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you see that. So here's what cream puff looked like raw. So I went over to Susan's, same as I'm about to do, and I was looking through everything on her skirting table. And when I came across this fleece, I was just like, seriously? Are you serious right now? Seriously? Cream puff is Gotland Romney Charlet. I would have denied that in touching it. I don't see a lot of Gotland there. I have spoken before about how I love Gotland and Cotswold when they're like a part of the breed mixture more than I even love them all on their own, right? Preference. But so there's obviously it's influencing this lock. Charlet, kind of a meat sheep, right? Like a Dorset, like a Suffolk, like those kinds of things. And then like imagine like that. There are distinguishments between them, but they're like micro, in my opinion. And then you've got the what did I say? The Romney. And that's what she looked like. She was, when you washed her, she glowed. It was the craziest thing. She looked kind of dull. And then you wash this fleece and she comes out. Like, here's where I could suddenly see more of that long wool influence because cream puff is puffy. and creamy. Not so much even in relation to the color, but just in relation to how she feels to touch. Very soft, very beautiful. She came out so crimpy white. Like, look. Okay, same fleece. Look at her. Look at that girl. Look at that. That's better. There it is. So I loved her here because I liked the kind of girth that she had. But then you washed her and she just, I mean, she's not bulky at all. This is all just like, I don't know. Like she's just so, I guess I was expecting more of the Charlet, if that makes sense, more of the bulk. It's not here in this. So anyone in the Guts Club is going to know this because you're talking about it, or you've touched it. She's just lovely. So yeah, we got some yellow tip. Whatever, it happens. Light buttery yellow tips. You card them out, and what do you get when you have a fleece that's got this kind of yellowing on it? Well, you get a slightly creamy colored bat. So if you look at the lock next to the bat, this is definitely cream and this is definitely white and yellow. So when you card them out, you get warm white. That's why I never fuss when I see tips like this. Some people are, oh, it's yellow tips. Can I use it? Yeah. Yes, you can. Even like this section, and that one's quite pronounced. Okay, but blend it all together, and we're good, baby. We got this nice creamy white fleece. So absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love cream puff. She carded up. What did we put with her? Cashgora. Of course I put Cashgora. Of course I did that because Cashgora is also silky and fluffy and light and also has like a bit of a, I don't know, a weight to it. There's, what are we talking about? The sheen? Yes, it's absolutely gorgeous. It was just full of dirty secrets. Chris, did you have this one? Did you get Guts too? So here she is. Just a white poofy cloud, doing all kinds of things genetically. So cross-breed, not multiple sheep together like what we just saw with Chai and Ghana, different breeds together in a bat. All this is happening in one breed, off one sheep. And I just loved her. Very silky. I found this actually to be a bit of a butt cheek to spin because she was a bit slippy. And that was probably the Cashgora getting on in there as well. So here's what my spin looked like. Oops. Look at that luster. And then I tried to capture a picture so you guys could see how much halo she has. Wait for it, but I don't think it's gonna. See all that? All that halo and poof. You can also see my inconsistent spinning because I was like, as I'm drafting her, I'm like, this should not be long draw. I should not be long drawing this fleece. I should be doing a short backward or something different. But whatever. I just did what I did. Love the skein. Love the feel of her. Okay, let's go for a comparison here. Who has this? Chris, you've had this one. Would you consider her to be next to Skin? I would. I'm not getting stabbed. Like I could wear this as like a garment, but I'm curious what other people's like tolerance is. I would say she's got more of a prickle than the Ghana Chai one did because those kinds of wools could come out maybe on the coarser micron, but they don't stab, whereas long wools can stab. So I'm just curious how you feel, how anyone else who had this feels. I feel like I was tested here. It's like a little sensitive zone, right? So anyway, that's how she came out. Washing. Okay. So these are local fleece, and I've described the area that I live in, but we are a temperate rainforest. So we are rainy all the time. We're rainy constantly. And like, I'm talking like, I don't want to say 300 days a year of rain, but maybe like 260, like half the year or something like that. Crazy as rain here. Lots of mud, lots of things like that. So when you wash a fleece like this, you're going to watch that come out your rinse water. You're going to see that coming out your scour water. The first one is the most satisfying because it's like this dark, thick liquid. And then after that, it sort of like becomes more and more like the color of tea as you keep going. But because if it's a breed like this, all that's dropping out. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's all coming out. So that's how come you can look at something as white as these locks, but see that we started here. Let's put this one away. Right? That's just dirt. Like you would almost think you were buying like a light fawn colored fleece and you're not. This is actually quite brilliant white with the exception of those yellow tips. We've got like quite a white fleece happening, right? That's just because of where we live. And we've got like everywhere's got mud and everywhere's got dirt. We've got like lots of mud, like because it's raining all the time. So that's just something to consider when you're locationally buying a fleece. When I buy a fleece and I'm washing them and they're from Arizona, they're sandy. They're literally like, I will dump rinse water and the bottom of my tub will have like dirt, like fine grained dirt. It's not like actual sand, but kind of like that. When I'm buying fleece from Montana, I get a lot of wool up from Montana and I find I'm always getting stabbed by something. There's some kind of plant there that gets into the wool and stabs me. There's one California. Is that the one that's got like the greenish color when you rinse it out, like a brownie green? Like there's all these different kind of colors. And I think it's just from like geography, where these sheep are and what they're doing. You know, like I talked about what I would commonly find in the Loch Lomond fleece. They're out on the prairies. It's going to be more arid out there. It's going to be more, I don't know, like all that little fine chaffy stuff, like little bits of chippy things, not huge old chunks of straw like you'll see from some other places. So anyway, Chris says, I haven't processed it yet. Huge backlog. Yeah, I bet you do. And then let me grab it. Okay, so I love this fleece. She's really spectacular. I love a lot of these Barnston, like obviously I love them all. I bought them all. And what the Russells have over there on their flock, these crosses, like I've had them in the shop before as well with like this, like they have some with the CVM influence. Oh, so it'll be like the same kind of cross, like a Gotland cross with a CVM cross with a Romney cross with a Charlet, like a 4-way cross. Dang. That's all I have to say about that. I love me a good crossbred fleece. I like seeing how they do such different things every single time. Like what is presenting, you know, and what presented to me in this fleece raw was the Charlet. That's kind of what I was holding in my hand, looking at what I thought was like bulk and everything. And then when I washed this babe, she's just like this beautiful glossy thing. And I wouldn't call her limp by any means, but like, because she's got some body in there, almost kind of the same vibe as Firefly, where we took the long wool alpaca and added the girth, but this is all happening in the genetic. Carding would be Ain't No Thing. And out the door, I don't think carding was a thing. I carded this very easily. I just picked it, layered it on with the Kashgora as I went. She's a little sticky to the drum. I found that like we have these bat removers. You guys can DIY them, by the way, but let me show you real quick. Look like this. So it's a vinyl plastic sheet. You can get this on Amazon. You could cut it to your length around dowel, essentially. And we use these to kind of like roll the bats off to get every little bit off the carder. It is a must on the big homies where we have, hold on, really big versions of these. Okay. We have to. There's no other way to get the bats off the big homies. And then we find that Chromie, that's our newer brother supercard versus our 20-something-year-old Pat Green supercard. The Pat Green one maybe is just softened over the years. I don't know. It'll let go of bats, but Chromie won't. So we use one for Chromie too. I had to really make sure I had that thing on, or this wanted to kind of separate. Like it didn't all want to come off the drum on one piece. Other than that, I would say pretty straightforward. So that is Guts 2. Any questions about Guts 2? Anybody before we move on? I wish I could have shown you guys the videos of Barnston. It is like, it's just so cool over there. It's so different than everything else 5 minutes away because it doesn't have that road to it. It's like a bit of a thing to get there. And sometimes, you know, we've had a ton of rain and the Fraser is really, really high and they can't run that little boat back and forth, or their power all goes out because they got to connect over the river. And like, there's all kinds of like interesting little happenings over there on Bardstown. But so they're the same distance from the highway that takes us into one of the busiest cities in Canada as I am. And yet it feels so remote. It's very cool. And also that's probably part of their big argument over, you know, bridge, no bridge. A lot of the other islands in the area that are like that, we have one in the Fraser a bit more north, and it's like literally a gigantic Amazon hub. Same kind of size island, and they put a bridge to it, and now it's like all industry. Everything all around is like kind of industrial. It's probably what they're trying to avoid. Okay, here we go. All right. Shannon from Unicorn Fluff. We have some seriously pokey weeds here in Montana. Aggressive stabbers. Like I get a whole bunch of fine wool out of Montana all the time. And if it's uncoated, I'm in for it. I'm going to be bruised. All right, what do we got? Last one, okay? Everyone with me? We're looking at Guts 4. This is our Fine Wool Guts Club. So while I've shown you a lot of soft things today, fine things like Gotland lambs with 25% alpaca and merino, like that was for Firefly. That's not a fine wool club. So soft wool appears everywhere. As you know, I'd say most wool is soft. This club is sort of like the point. The point of the club is that the guts would be finer and softer. And just for a reminder, guts is anything uncarded. I've washed it, but it's not carded. We've presented to you like this little like meal kit of a thing that you have all your little proportions and you can make your bats. And some people are very obedient to the meal kit and other people leave stuff out and they play with it. All is acceptable. So just so everybody knows. Okay, another long wool. Wow. I had a whole vibe last month, didn't I? Another long wool. So this one, oh, that's right. I love you. I love you. Okay, this is a Wensleydale lamb. What the heck? I love her. This one, that's a Wensleydale lamb. Look at that thing. That's a lock from a Wensleydale lamb. This is about as long as Karina was. Like, maybe Karina was longer, but like, ooh, oh, that's fun. That's cute. Okay, Wensleydale lamb. Shiny, fine, very soft. This is, I would say, this club is the softest bat. It feels even softer than Roadster, the merino, because Roadster still had the homey grip to it, and this one's all slip and slide. This one just feels like nothing when you're holding it. So here it is. So I heard from one person who saw these locks and was like, no, I'm not picking that. And I thought that was so funny. These are, you know, these are a little something to pick. But there it is. There. It yielded. Not so bad. Not locked up like some long wools can be, where your hands ache at the end of the day because you picked them and now, you know, you've given yourself like carpal tunnel. So definitely not like that. Although fiddly, right? Like you got to kind of get in there and find your little side to be able to pull these suckers open. And so that's how I pick these long wools. I just sort of like, but you got to go through them kind of slow, which is why sometimes you guys will hear me complaining about like that one's pretty locked down. But you know, if I just get in there and pull it all apart into this lovely little cloud, and then you feed that little cloud to your carter. That's the Wensleydale lamb. It's the definition of soft. It feels like silk. Like, I'm not saying it's silky. It actually feels like silk. So like if I'm holding this, I could be holding and playing with mulberry silk or one of those, you know what I mean? It's kind of got that vibe to it. And then, so we did 60 grams of that lamb, and then we did 45 grams of this alpaca. This is Whitney. And we often call her Whitey. Oh, hold on. Let me put that. I might have actually put white. Oh, shoot. Did I put Whitey in the thing? Uh-oh. Did I put this up for the last one? There it is. That's who it is. I did put Whitey. Shoot. Her name's Whitney. Okay. Her name's Whitney. Not Whitey. But anyway, here's Whitey. And like, whoa. super white to the max. So On the Brink Alpaca is another Canadian alpaca producer. So soft, really lovely stuff. Bit more open, like a little less like organization, like the when I talk about like all in alpacas, I feel somewhat like I'm working with like a wool fleece with how much you can see the distinction in the locks. This one's more like kind of fluffy and open all over the place, but that's an alpaca lock. So gorgeous. And again, like a super soft, beautiful fleece. Then we start it with 10 grams of silk. This is Tussa silk. Now, when I'm touching this Tussa, and I'm touching little Whitey here, Whitey feels softer than the Tussa silk, but that same kind of vibe, right? Then add 45 grams or 45% alpaca. So what I did here is I made something, I put together this luscious little meal kit of a very diabolical spin, because where alpaca and wool came together for Firefly, long wool and wool came together for Firefly, we didn't add glue. We added double the amount of alpaca instead. Sorry, silk. Oh, there wasn't silk in Firefly. Imagine, whatever, close enough. Okay, so here's what we put together. Diabolical. Is it the softest bat of the month? Yes, 100%. Look at the blush pink. Look at how seriously pretty that is. So we actually loved this so much from March that we did a pink bat like this just in our shop update. We took a long wool from another local flock, Fiber and Forge, Shetland Gotland BFL, and added just the Tussa. We didn't do alpaca, but we used this same color, in case anybody was wondering, like the lightest pink. And we get this, like, once it gets in there with the white wool and the alpaca, you get this super gorgeous angelic blush color. Okay. Loved it. Loved how this turned out. Just had it in the shop. Shoot, though. Shoot, there's nothing. There is no sensory. I'm not getting stabbed. Nothing is poking me. This is remarkable. Now, sometimes with long wool, when we add twist, we could bend things with all wool on angles. And so if it's like a stronger thing, this is what happens with Icelandic all the time. If you try to apply Icelandic and not just do a singles yarn, you add bend angle to an already coarse, strong wool, and now we're getting like dead stabbed all the time. When I spun this, I mean, just nothing. Because the Wensleydale lamb is so fine, guys. I did not like spinning it though. I did. We're going to talk about that right now. So I ended up going with a short backward. I tried to long draw it. It was a fail, total fail. So the whole first maybe 10 grams of this 30-gram spin, I was like, no, I will bend it to my will. I couldn't do it. So I just went with a short backward draft, or like a continuous backwards, not a short backwards, where I kind of draft, slide. It's almost like a really amended version of a long draw. Then we were friends. I couldn't long draw it though. It was like either going to lock up or slip right out of my way, or it was going to, like, whatever it is I need to lock in and find like my flow state with a long draw does not exist in this blend. That's fine. So I just had to change it up, but this was the one that fought me. And this is the one that even in my singles, I'm like, you suck. Like, this is garbage trash. It's like slubby. That looks pretty good if I just show you that section right there. But there's some other spots here where I'm like, oh, what are you, new? Look there. Wait, the big fatty guy right there. See him? Anyway, because I fought with it. I love it. I would not spin a sweater of this. I would lose my mind. But boy, oh boy, what a combo. So 60 grams Wensleydale lamb, 45 grams Whitney the alpaca, Whitey, and then 10 grams of Tussa silk. It's just like slip on slip on slip. Okay. That's what we ended up putting in this thing. So stupid soft. And then here it is as a spun. So you can see more of the, let me make me small. That's how she looks. There's Dutton in the background, who is pure scruff. He is the opposite of this fleece. He sits on the back of the couch, which my desk is right along the back of the couch. So it always feels like I have a dog on my desk. I love it. Okay, there's one view of her And then I've got this view of her too. Hold on. I'll make this one go away. There she is. Oh, make me go away. Hello, Melissa. So it's beautiful. 6 out of 10 spin for me. That's all I have to say about that. Yes, I waxed poetic most of this time about how I make things for me and when I like to spin, I sample everything. And then also, you know, and also you make stuff. So like this one, I have no complaints with this yarn. This would be beautiful to knit with. All I'm saying is for this one trick pony and how she spins, this one didn't do the thing that I want. I couldn't lawnmower. But what a gorgeous yarn. So that's what Guts 4 got. When we think fine wool, we don't often think Wensleydale lamb. This is softer. Let's see. It's got to be 18 microns, okay, is Roadster. Oh, 100%. This is stupid. It's so soft. It's also like predominant. It's like half alpaca and silk. Oh yeah, this is ridiculous. So it's a diabolical. Sometimes I make these diabolical blends. If you hear me talk about, if I say it's diabolical, what I mean is like, this is not a Melly friendly spin for someone who designs spins around me wanting to do things one way easily. So this one needed me to accommodate it. Okay, not the other way around. And it did, and it's absolutely beautiful. And that is what we did for our Guts 4 club. And with that, we've done it. We've done lore. We have talked about all 6 clubs. I don't think I have any other pictures to show you. Do you guys like that I kind of got on it with the pictures this time? Personally, I like the close-up shot of the yarn because I feel like this, well, that's still good. I don't know. I feel like somehow seeing it in this still picture is like better. Yeah, I think I showed you everything. And with that, here it is one more time. Some of the carded bats. This doesn't show Guts or Nude. Oops, that's not what I wanted to show you. And that's that. So unless there's any questions, we're just over 2 hours, which is awesome. That's awesome for us and for me. I gotta go call an artist for the Great Guts Adventure this year. Yes, Advents are in full swing. Delightful's all here. Delightful's all here. So good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be weird for different reasons this year. Delightful's here. I'm very excited about that. Not like we want to talk about Advents right now, but it's on my mind because it's May almost, right? And I gotta have these things like done and out. Like we're fully working, we're scouring in August kind of thing. So I'm gonna go talk to a kid about hand-drawn art. And I'm skirting tonight. I have someone coming over with a bunch of burn pile fleece, and we're going to look and see what their potential is. Have a little skirting party. I will show you guys skirting on Instagram later today. And also if I head out to that Barnson flock, I'm showing you that stinking fairy because it's so funny, that little fairy. But for now, I believe that's it. So I'm just going to leave all the sommelier out for Emily to put away tomorrow because that's how I roll. And unless there's any more questions, nothing, we're going to go. You can always leave questions in the comments and I will answer them. YouTube is like one of the rare apps I have notifications on for. I don't have them on for Instagram or anything else. So I just kind of see things when I see them. I don't know why this one, I think because I don't know how to turn them off. So that's it for me. I think that's it for me. So I'm going to go. Okay, I'm going to go. And this gets saved. I'm going to do show notes right now or I'll never get them done. And I appreciate you all being here, being in the chat, being on the live. Thank you. Thank you for asking questions and being like an interactive part of what makes this good for me to do, more fun for me to do too. And listening to me talk about wool for 2 hours straight. So, okay, that's all. All right, I'm going. See you next month. Okay, bye.